Welcome to K-Drama School. I'm your host, Grace Jung, and class is now in session. As you can see, I am not in my standard studio. It's because Spectrum has removed my Wi-Fi for the last 4 days, which was kind of a nightmare, but honestly, it wasn't too bad because I was kind of used to not having internet for a few days as I was up in the woods camping. And that trip, honestly, I recommend it. I recommend that you all go camping alone at least once in your life. It's an interesting experience. You just kind of get to sit alone with your thoughts. You can read books for hours. Like I was able to read for a very long time, for the first time in a really long time, which was wonderful. I got to sit by the river and hang out for a number of hours. It was a good time, so I really strongly recommend it. And I am going to be in New York first week of September. I'll be doing a few shows there. I will be announcing that very soon. I'm also going to be doing a few shows in North Carolina, so I will be definitely mentioning some show dates around that. Let's see. So today I'm going to be talking about the show. Oh, this is one of my favorite shows of all time. I watched this show maybe like 8 or 9 times, probably 10 times. The show is called It's Okay, That's Love, or 괜찮아 사랑이야. And it was written by one of my favorite writers, No Hee-kyung. I believe I talked about No Hee-kyung before, right? I mean, she's the writer who wrote the show Live, which I talked about. Did I talk about any other shows by her here? I don't think so. I guess not. Well, that's exciting. I get to talk about a lot of her shows now. I mean, there are a few shows that I want to talk about later, like Dear My Friends. I want to talk about That Winter the Wind Blows, which was not very good. I want to talk about Worlds Within. So there are a lot of shows that I want to talk about written by her, and I will eventually. This show stars Cho In-sung and Kong Hyo-jin, who are just amazing actors, and they have brilliant chemistry on this show, okay? So the premise is that Jang Jae-yeol, played by Cho In-sung, is this best-selling thriller novelist, and he is also a radio DJ and a celebrity, but he has OCD. He also has schizophrenia, but we don't know about that until way later. And then the female protagonist is played by Kong Hyo-jin, and she plays Ji Hae-soo, who is a psychiatrist working at a major university hospital in Seoul. And she is a first-year resident, so she is still kind of learning on her way to developing and becoming a great doctor, right? And she has a anxiety disorder around sex. So when she was very young, she saw her mother having an affair, and so she associates sex with negativity, with bad things, and she has this major phobia around sex. So she is like almost 30, she's about 30 years old, and she's still a virgin, and she is not able to be intimate, physically intimate with any man. That doesn't mean that she doesn't date men. She's a very beautiful and talented and fun young woman, so she does have a lot of boyfriends, but all of them had to be kept at bay. All of them had to go through this discussion with her. And honestly, I think that's sort of a good thing to have, right? Like, if a woman is not ready to have sex with somebody, she should be able to negotiate that with her partner, okay? Like, I wish I had known that when I was younger, right? When I was younger, like I was really very much pressured into having sex with boyfriends, and like that creates a lot of issues when you're older. I think this show has a good inner text around discussions of consent as a K-drama. So I think that's a big plus. Sang Dong-il plays Cho Dong-min. He's sort of a mentor figure to Ji Hae-soo's character. And I could tell that No Hee-kyung, the writer, loves Sang Dong-il, right? Like he is in so many of her shows. And like I said, a lot of writers, they have this close relationship with some actors, and they'll continue to use them over and over again in their series. And I really love that they have this kind of relationship, and I love that South Korean TV writers have this kind of power. Iguangsu, the beloved Iguangsu, is also on this show. Iguangsu is not a comedian. He is a actor. He's an actor, okay? And he plays somebody with Tourette's syndrome. Okay, so that's his struggle, that's his thing, and he's very much a prominent figure on this show. And Do Kyung-soo plays Han Gang-woo. Okay, Do Kyung-soo, I think you all know him. He's a K-pop singer and actor, right? He also goes by Do or Do. But he was in that group EXO, right? Everybody knows who EXO is. I think Do Kyung-soo is an amazing actor. He's very talented. He was really good in this show. And Do Kyung-soo plays Chang Jae-yeol's hallucination. So Chang Jae-yeol has schizophrenia, and he hallucinates this figure who is supposed to be Chang Jae-yeol's younger self, and projection, and the whole series is sort of running on this conflict, right? This tension. Like, Chang Jae-yeol has schizophrenia. Most of the people around him, the people who love him, don't know that he has schizophrenia. And then this comes to the fore later on, and then this becomes a big hurdle for everybody, right? I feel like this show did an excellent job at addressing the issue of mental disability and mental disorder. South Korea is very much behind when it comes to normalizing mental disability and mental disorders. I feel like the United States is also somewhat behind when it comes to that, but relative to South Korea, they are better at it. Me living in Los Angeles, this is a bit of a bubble for me, right? I'm in the entertainment industry. I am very much open about me and my therapy sessions, right? Like, I definitely have mental disorders. I live with depression and anxiety. I also live with complex PTSD. And that is the reason why I see a therapist. That is the reason why I have all these exercises and things that I do in order to keep them maintained, keep myself balanced, keep myself healthy. And the fact is, guys, nobody, not a single person on earth is exempt from some kind of mental disorder or disability. All of us have it, all right? Most of us have general anxiety. Most of us have some element of depression, okay? And the only way to be able to cope with them and manage them better is once we acknowledge that we have them, and then we go and seek help, and then we figure out a way to deal with it. There's definitely a lot of resistance when it comes to mental disability and disorders, especially among the Asian American community. I feel like that really needs to be addressed, okay? Being an immigrant, you're just gonna like, the default is that you're gonna have some depression and anxiety, all right? You're gonna have some issues, okay? So I feel like a lot of this stuff needs to be talked about more. I feel like they need to be normalized, and I think It's Okay, That's Love is an excellent Korean drama in getting us talking about these things. The soundtrack on this show is really, really good, okay? So you have Davichi, who is a two-woman group, and they sing ballads, and the song is really, really amazing. Yoonmire has an excellent song on this show, and it's a great song. So I really strongly recommend the soundtrack. All the songs on this show, they were all really good. So if you want to look it up on Spotify and play it, or if you want to look it up on YouTube and play it, yeah, get down with some of the music. It's really, really good. My guest for today is Connor Shin. Connor Shin is a Korean American, SoCal based comedian, writer, actor. They are non-gender binary, they are queer, they are pansexual. They are amazing. I love Connor because they're hilarious, first of all. Like, whenever I hang out with them, like, they crack me up. I love Connor because, they're a very passionate person. They care about their community. They have, they've done some community activism, which I participated in, especially back in the spring of this year. They are a great writer. They are generous with their time when it comes to other comics who want to come to them with questions. They're very generous. I really enjoyed this conversation with Connor. Connor is also the writer of the Harley Quinn series, which you can find on, I believe, HBO Max. So let's talk to Connor Shin. Do you have like a morning ritual when you wake up? Something you do daily?
I wash my face. and I have coffee,
Hmm.
and that's about the only consistent thing I do.
That's pretty good. Washing
Yeah,
face,
yeah,
coffee,
yeah.
and then what do you do? Do you think about like, oh, I don't know, what did you do this morning? Were you like, oh, I'm gonna do something, or
Um, I had I have a bunch of fruit that's about to go bad, so I was trying to finish that off,
yeah,
and it sucks because I keep doing that, and you know how when fruit goes bad, it gets like that weird spicy flavor.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, it's so.
yeah. It gets like fermented.
Yeah,
Um, Usually I'll just like throw it in a smoothie, you know?
yeah, that's what I should probably do, but
Yeah,
mm,
a good
I,
smoothie maker changes everything.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I should
Mm-hmm.
just do that with the rest of my fruit.
Mm-hmm. Any other plans other than this?
I have a skate lesson at 6.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm
Back
having.
in back at Venice.
No, no, it's in Alhambra,
Oh wow.
and I'm having. Well, I always have anxiety about my skate lessons, but I'm just like, I feel like I got worse since I last saw him,
Huh?
because
Why?
I, because I fell really hard a bunch of times, and
Yeah.
I got a new board because got a new board, and then like now I'm like timid on the board.
Yeah. Because of the falling.
Yeah, and I'm even then I'm not completely healed from all my injuries.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So I feel like I have a bunch of explaining to do when I see him. I'll be like, listen, it's gonna seem like I got worse, and it's because I did. It's because,
Is it possible to get worse if you've been writing more?
but I'm
And
not. I'm like more timid now because I ate it so hard so many times.
I think being timid is different from getting worse, though. You know?
Yeah, but I don't have the gusto that I used to. And today I specifically said, well, when I asked him for another lesson, I was like, can you teach me how to ollie?
Mm-hmm.
So we're just gonna be I think we're just gonna be practicing jumping today.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
so there's no way I'm not gonna eat it today. So I'm just like,
You're bracing yourself.
yeah. I mean, I have pads and shit, but it's just you can it doesn't mean it doesn't hurt when you fall. It just means yeah.
Yeah.
And you could always fall at a weird angle. And then on tomorrow morning, I'm supposed to drive to Reno, and
Wow.
that's like an 8-hour drive.
Why?
I'm just gonna visit my cousin who lives there,
Okay.
and just to chill. And
Yeah.
I've never made a drive that far by myself before,
Uh-huh.
and
Yes.
um, but the thing is, everyone's like nervous for me, but I'm like, I was looking forward to that part
I'm looking forward to you doing this too.
because
I think
I really want to
yeah.
go on a road trip.
Yeah. Yeah. Fucking
Hmm.
do it. I'm like excited for you. It's a beautiful drive, Nevada.
Yeah, so I'm just like, am I the only one that's excited about this?
I'm excited for you. I'm on board.
Everyone's like, my mom is like, just take a plane, I'll pay for it, and I'm like, that's not. First of all, I don't want to get on a plane right now,
Yeah.
and second, I'm like, but I wanted to go on a road trip,
Yeah.
and
That's the whole idea.
this whole trip is going to be mostly road trip. So
Exactly. Yeah. It's going to be
yeah,
you driving and
mhm,
you thinking and you
mhm,
seeing things and
yeah,
processing things and
mhm,
getting new inspiration.
mhm,
That's awesome. I'm happy that you're gonna do it. You
yeah,
know, I like this Connor 2.0, the one that's doing things in the fear of, you know,
mhm,
I mean, in the face of fear, right? Like in the
yeah,
face of anxiety, like you're going to skate, you're going to
mhm,
skateboard, you're going to do more lessons, you're going to expand your repertoire and learn how to jump today and
yeah,
ollie.
yeah,
You're going to go on this road trip, which you've never done for this long, but you're going to do it, right?
mhm,
It's
yeah. I
like you're
think
expanding.
Yeah, I think I'm ready to try to push my limits a little bit.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
yeah.
I love that. I love that so much. I'm like
Mhm.
kind of on a similar path, I think.
Mhm.
And I still like on occasion, I was still thinking back to like just Monday, just a few days ago when you and I were hanging out, outside in K Town,
Mhm.
just killing time. And, you were just like skateboarding and like it was around 6:30, between 6:30 and 7. So like the sun was starting to go down, but not
Mhm.
quite. It felt like late afternoon light.
Mhm. Mhm.
And it felt like that after school hour between 3 and 4 when I
Mhm.
was a kid. And like just kind of like latchkey kids, like when they wait for their parent to pick them up, or
Mhm.
just killing some time like outside of school, like just
Mhm.
talking to a friend, just enjoying the afternoon. Like
Mhm.
that felt so nice. I was like, this is such a great feeling. Like I want to hang on to this moment, this feeling, this mood, this atmosphere. And I think adding more of those moments into the life, to integrate that more into our adult life, helps us go and take on these um, so-called trepidations, these so-called uh, challenges, which are really not. They're really just us wanting to be out there and explore, right? Being adventurous.
Mhm. Yeah, I think it was great because it was so not planned,
Yes.
and we were literally just waiting for an open mic to start.
Yeah.
But I don't know, it was just something about having no expectations, but just really like being fully present.
Hmm.
I feel like those are always the best hangs.
Yes, they are. Right? Like,
Mhm.
for instance, I was going to the beach last week with my friend, and she was like, I have a show at 8, so we have to leave by 6.
Mhm.
And I was like, yeah, all right. But I didn't like that feeling. Like there's this, you know, hard deadline, like a hard out,
Mhm.
because like going to the beach already takes so much. You have to like gather a bunch
Yeah.
of shit and you have to drive out there. And
Oh, I know.
but then it's like, oh fuck, we just unpacked everything. I can pack it all in. And I usually like having some room
Mhm.
for dilly dallying.
Mhm.
Like even
Yeah.
going to the airport, like I like having extra time so that I don't feel rushed. Like I like the dilly dally moments. Like
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm usually not the type of person that has like a very keep it cutting it close schedule because
Mm,
I hate rushing, and
yes.
I hate arriving just on time.
Hmm.
That always freaks me out,
Hmm.
and I hate running late. So I always like give myself some space.
Why do you
And
hate why do you hate getting there on time?
well, because it gives me anxiety if I'm not there early because I'm like I just barely made it. I hate
Mm-hmm.
that shit. I get
Hmm.
it from my mom. It's so annoying.
Well, I usually get to places early or right on time. That's sort of my thing. Like, I hate
Mhm.
being late to things too, and I hate keeping people waiting. The reason why I hate that is because I hate it when people are late. Like, when people
Mhm.
are late, I judge them.
Oh yeah.
So that's why I hate it when people are late.
That's a deal breaker for me.
Yeah. Why? Why is that? Why is that
Cause
like an offense?
it's one thing if someone does it once, like shit
Yeah.
happens, I get it. But
Sure. Yeah.
if this is like a regular thing for them, like
A pattern.
I've cut off friendships, I've
Mm-hmm.
ended relationships, or I've
Mm-hmm.
threatened to end relationships,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and it's so it's not just a pet peeve,
Mm.
cause like someone like a lot of things are pet peeves,
Yeah.
but the thing is like keeping someone late, it's
Mm-hmm.
so disrespectful and passive aggressive.
Hmm.
For me it always reads as selfish, as just being like my time is more important than yours,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
it has nothing to do with being busy.
Mm.
Like, do we know anyone that isn't busy?
Right.
Like, and it's always the same dumb shit. Like, they're not organized, they couldn't make a decision on something,
Mm-hmm.
and they're always late for the if you really break it down, they're always late for the dumbest reasons.
Mm-hmm.
And so
Yeah.
yeah, and unfortunately people that are habitually late, if you get to know them, their whole family is like that.
Yeah. It's
Either
like it's almost like a disorder Like
Yeah.
chronic lateness is like a disorder. There are some people who just can't help but always be late. It's
Yeah.
like their wiring is off. Like I dated somebody like that. It was a nightmare. We dated for 2 years, and
Mm-hmm.
he was perpetually late. Like I'm not
Mm-hmm.
saying 15 minutes, not even an hour. I'm talking like 2 hours. He'd be late like minimum hour, hour and a half, 2 hours. And every time we met up, the date would start out with me angry at him and
Mm-hmm.
him feeling like guilty and ashamed.
Oh
And I was
yeah.
just like, it doesn't have to be like this. You could just be on time.
Mm-hmm.
But for him, it was just like an impossibility. Like he just
Mm-hmm.
didn't know how not to be late.
Yeah.
And like on the one hand, I try to be open-minded and compassionate about everybody's different sense of time, because everybody has their own sense of time. That's just how it is. Like there is
Mm-hmm.
no objective time. There is one that we live by in society,
Mm-hmm.
but that doesn't for them that doesn't dictate their lives. I wish I had some of that ability, to be honest, which I don't have. But I I agree with you that it feels like they don't respect my time and they don't respect me. And it does feel selfish, but like I do try to think like, okay, it's not personal. This isn't like a personal attack. I try my
Yeah.
best to think that way. It
Yeah.
doesn't always work. The default feeling is I feel disrespected, I feel
Mm-hmm.
neglected, I feel ignored, I feel, like all those shitty things. But
Yeah. It
it's rough.
also it always has it fucks everything up because it always has a chain reaction. Because
Yeah.
if they're late, now we're late. We're gonna be
Uh,
late to that thing, and then
right.
that next thing's gonna be late, and then
Yeah.
just like it's like dominoes. And I'm just
Right.
like, oh, if what just this once can you get your shit in gear?
Yeah. It's almost
And
like we can't plan. Like, don't plan an event if you're going to meet with this person, right?
well,
Like,
these people I noticed, people that
yeah.
are habitually late, they get pissed off if you try to plan shit.
Yeah. They
They'll
don't like
oh,
the rigidity. Yeah.
mm-mm. Like if it's something like a week or a month in advance, they're like, absolutely not. It has to be like as
Yeah.
it's happening,
Uh
as it's
huh.
happening. Like
Yeah.
I think planning something that has like a hard deadline freaks them out so much.
Yeah. It does.
Uh, and I'm just like, because I'm the type of person where like if it's 10:45 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
on a Saturday and I'm at home and
Yeah.
someone texts me be like, hey, do you want to? We're about to go to this club. Do you want to go? I'd be like, fuck no. I
Mm-hmm.
need at least an hour to mentally prepare that I'm going somewhere
Yeah.
and just hardcore introvert right here. I
Yeah.
mean, the thing is, I actually do really like going out,
Yeah.
but
Yes.
I just need some time to process it,
Mm-hmm.
and I need time to recover from it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. How do you prepare for that? Like a social event?
Someone tells me about it.
Mm-hmm.
I ask questions like, how dressy is it gonna be? What's the tone gonna be? What are we gonna be
Mm.
doing? What's a bunch of random things that give me anxiety, or is there gonna be parking?
Right. That's a big one.
Parking, is there gonna be a cover?
Mm-hmm.
Is it gonna be crowded?
Mm-hmm.
Is it going to be expensive? Is there going to be a lot of standing? I'm a lazy person, it turns out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
That's like a
and then,
white people thing to stand around at parties. Like Koreans never stand around; they always sit.
or or just have an event where we're like, huh? So we're just standing this whole time.
Yeah, they stand around and walk around the whole night. I'm like, this is a nightmare. Yeah, I hate it.
Well, guess what, Grace? The people that don't take their shoes off to go inside like to stand around at parties.
I know, and they're yeah, but it's like you could like talk to everybody. And I'm like, yeah, but what if you don't want to? Like, I don't want to talk to everybody.
You could have chairs and talk to people.
Yeah,
Shit, I was at an Olive Garden dinner, and it
yeah,
was like one of them long tables. The
right.
chairs at Olive Garden have wheels on the bottom. I wheeled myself to the other side of the table to talk to people.
Wow, yeah, yeah. See, you know how to get creative if and when need be. Yeah,
That I didn't have to be standing in flats for 3 hours to do that. It's
no,
just and I get filled with resentment because also on top of that, well, I don't wear high heels anymore,
Mm-hmm.
but female shoes are not comfortable.
They're the worst. Yeah.
Even the casual ones.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Like, have you seen that store Aldo or some shit?
Yeah.
The one that has sandals
Uh-huh.
that are about like this thin
Uh-huh.
with and they're totally flat on the inside.
Mm.
I'm why?
It's not built for comfort. It's built for aesthetics. You know, now that you say it, I haven't worn heels in a really long time too. Like almost 2 years. I haven't.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Is it because of quarantine or is it because of personal?
I think quarantine has a lot to do with it. But you know, like before when I used to go up on stage, I used to wear heels and full makeup, full blowout. I used to wear skirts. I used to wear dresses.
Mm-hmm.
Always heels. Now I there are days when I go up on stage without any makeup. I never wear heels when I go up on stage now. I
Mm-hmm.
always wear comfortable sneakers. I usually wear like Air Force Ones because there's like a lot of support there.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, like increasingly I've been dressing more like streetwear. Like I wear sweatpants, I wear t-shirts, I wear like weird like linen pants, cotton pants that are like poofy and
You
wavy.
have the best pants. I was gonna ask you, where'd you get those pants the other day?
I got those from Woodstock in New York at like a
Uh,
Tibetan shop. Yeah, yeah.
I was gonna say, where the hell did you even get
I
those?
think if you just look up any like Tibetan, you know, outlet, you'll find them. And
Well,
they're all
it would never
cotton.
occur to me to look up a Tibetan outlet. So,
Yeah.
so
Yeah. It was like just a random thing. Like my friend was up in Woodstock for some kind of writers retreat. I happened to be in upstate New York at the time visiting two other people, so I stopped to
mhm,
see her
mhm,
and we were just kind of wandering around Woodstock and there was this Tibetan shop owned by a Tibetan woman. And I was just like,
mhm,
you hit the jackpot by having a shop here where all the whites are into Tibetan Buddhist shit. She's like, I know. She's like, I know.
mhm,
And I bought two
mhm,
pants from her, and one of them was that.
mhm. Yeah,
So comfy.
I bet.
Comfort is
Huh.
important. Comfort first. I think that's the other thing. It's like we're shedding our heels, we're shedding our tight fitting clothes, we're wearing things that help us feel like ourselves, where we
Mhm,
don't have to hide who we are, right?
mhm,
Because that's
mhm,
always the pressure. It's like, why are women always told you have to lose weight? It's like, well, the clothes are shaped impossibly. It's like you have to be stupid skinny in order to wear those clothes to make them look quote unquote flattering, to make them work. It's like, well, what if I don't want to reshape myself to conform to your clothes? How about I go
mhm,
buy clothes that don't give a shit about any kind of shape or conformity or put any demand on my body? How about I do
mhm.
that? And I think I'm
Yeah.
just kind of intuitively doing that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know. This is so sad. I didn't know until like a few years ago that thick legs could look good. Like
Yeah.
I always thought in order to have pretty legs, they had to be like long, thin, colt-like legs.
Right.
But it
Mm-hmm.
wasn't until I started seeing like dancers and female athletes who had like these thick
Yes.
surfer girl legs, and I was
Yes.
just like, they look amazing.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, I think seeing that helps. Yeah,
Mhm.
I think athletes are a good example. Like athletes have all different shapes of bodies and
Mhm.
sizes, and
Because it's
they're
about
athletes.
function. Yeah.
It's about performance, function. Um, there is an aesthetic quality to it too. Like I think, athletes are beautiful people, like they're beautiful beings. But you know, athletes are different from models, and the ones
Mhm.
that advertise clothing to us are these models who, yeah, their bodies are just completely different from my own.
Mhm. Yeah, I just think it's interesting, like, because if you look at the model body, and then
Yeah,
the Olympics,
right.
there's not all the different events at the Olympics. Not a single one would
Hmm.
a model body have been practical for,
Exactly. Hmm.
except for maybe like archery or some shit,
Right. Right.
or that what's that one where you shoot a gun?
And I don't know, shooting a gun.
Is it range or something? But
Yeah, that sounds
yeah,
right. Uh-huh.
Yeah, but I'm like, maybe you could have a model body, but everyone else, I'm like, you're not gonna make it. You're not gonna make
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Um, and isn't it funny how when we look at athletes, their bodies are all different shapes and sizes, and they're athletes, so we know that they care about health and functionality and performance. Whereas models, they're very skinny for the most part, and we attribute thinness to health. We
Mhm.
attribute skinniness to health, and it's
Mhm.
like a lot of those models live very unhealthy lives in order to achieve that body.
Mhm.
What's
Yeah.
going on? I hear like a baby rattle. Is there a child?
Well, my cat is. He found his one of his favorite rattle toys. Sorry.
Okay. It's a cat.
I'm sorry.
It's all right.
I was cleaning under the couch and they shoved a bunch of their toys underneath it.
And then
And
now
so
they're finding them.
yeah, and they're just like, "Oh, I loved how loud this thing was." Dude, I saw this amazing thing on, I think it was Instagram or something, where it was just text and it said, "We're not asking people to like demonize skinny people. We're
Mm,
asking people to stop putting them, idolizing them.
right.
Like, because it's not about like um, skinny people are bad. It's just like stop saying that's the ideal body type
Hmm.
because it's actually not,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not practical to ask for something that's not even average.
Right.
And the reality is, some people are just heavier.
Yeah.
I mean, do you, it's not a coincidence that they usually have come from heavier families.
Exactly. Yeah. Just different body structure, muscles, different bone structure,
Mhm.
different DNA, different environment, you know?
Mhm.
Like I'm taller than my mom. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like different environment, different diet,
I'm actually
different
shorter than my mom.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just different food, different everything. Like it just really depends.
Mhm. Sorry, I'm gonna grab that rattle from him.
It's all right.
Naughty little baby. Naughty little baby.
Is that the first cat that comes out first when you have guests over?
No, this is the one that never comes out.
Oh,
Yeah.
interesting. So, okay, it's just when they feel safe, then they'll just like play with their toys and be their
Mhm. Mhm.
freak selves. I like
Mhm.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me ask you about showbiz stuff cuz you're like in it.
Mhm.
When like when and how did you get started in comedy? Like was it sketch first, improv first, stand up first? Like what came first?
I tried stand up first. Because I originally I was like, oh, I'm just gonna get into comedy writing because I didn't think anyone would take me. And so
Mm.
I was like, okay, I'll try doing some stand up.
In
And
Orange County or in LA?
I'm not from Orange County. I'm actually from San Gabriel Valley, Hacienda Heights.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that's more east.
Got
But
it.
I did drive all the way out to LA to try to do open mics.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and I was dating someone that lived in Silver Lake at the time, and
Okay.
so I was like so nervous to do it. And then,
Mhm.
um, uh, um, but then later I found out that I did some Googling, and a lot of my favorite comedic actors and writers also did improv. So I was like,
Mm.
okay, let me try improv.
Mm.
And then I fell in love with it. It was so much easier to find friends.
Where'd you do improv?
I took improv classes at UCB
Okay.
and Groundlings. I think at the same time too, which was
Wow.
I don't recommend.
You go
And
hard. When you feel determined to do something, you go hard.
oh, I go all
Yeah, that's what I'm
in.
noticing. Yeah. So okay, so you did groundlings and UCB.
hmm
Made a lot of
And
friends. Mm-hmm.
made friends, and then I took book classes, and then I started going to indie shows, started going into indie practice groups,
Mm-hmm.
and then slowly started being like, oh, I should try to do sketch. And
Mm.
so I started writing sketch, and after many, well, not that many years of struggling, I guess I got onto a UCB sketch team,
Mm-hmm.
and I was on a team for like 4 years,
Mm-hmm.
and not the same team, like three different teams, but like afterwards I was like, okay, I feel like now is a good time to move on,
Mm.
and I was ready to be like either start working, or start directing, or start teaching.
Mm-hmm.
So throughout this whole time though, I'm still auditioning and stuff.
Mm.
So I actually scored a few parts during this.
Mm-hmm. Which
Uh,
ones?
well, I did a commercial, and then my big thing was that in a I got a part in a Lake Bell movie.
Mm.
I do until I don't, which
Mm.
was really big for me because I had never done. I think that was also my first like SAG thing too.
Mm. Yeah, and
And
Lake Bell's huge. I love Lake Bell.
oh,
Yeah.
she's amazing, and it was amazing. It was a great first experience because it was the best set.
And it's like an
Um,
indie production, right? It's
yeah,
like
it was an indie
so
production.
scale wise it's more comfortable for somebody to
hmm
just start out into, yeah. It's perfect, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and it had a huge cast.
Mm-hmm.
And after that, I started getting other bit parts on like on TV and stuff,
Yeah.
like Will and Grace. I had a bit part on Superstore, but that scene got cut. I found out,
Mm.
and then I got a scene in just small things here and there.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
The ball started rolling.
yeah, and the acting thing actually helped me get noticed for writing.
Interesting.
Yeah, so that's why when people are like, "How do I get into writing or whatever?" I'm like, "There's no one way to do it."
Right.
Um, I really do feel like acting helped me get note. I don't think I would have a writing job if it wasn't for acting.
Interesting.
Because I mean, writers, especially at UCB, I feel like they don't stand out as much as the performers.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that I would get stage time occasionally, or I would get screen time, that helped me stand out.
Yeah,
So I think that absolutely helped.
for sure.
And yeah, so I mean, I'm still open to everything. Like, I'm, as you know, I'm trying to do stand up again,
Mm-hmm.
but I mean, I'm also still auditioning.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I'm supposed to. Uh, I mean, I got staffed a few times on shows.
Mm-hmm.
I This year I did Harley Quinn season 3, the
Yeah.
animated series.
Yeah, it's a big one.
Hopefully season 4 will start soon.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like I'm all over the place. So.
I think that's how it goes for comedians. Is like we're like very malleable creatures, you know? I mean, we have to be. It's like
Mhm.
if we're called to act, we gotta. If we're called to
Mhm.
write, we gotta. If we're called to direct, we gotta. If we're called to produce, we gotta. If
Mhm.
we're called to just improvise a bunch of lines, we gotta.
Mhm.
And yeah, I think you're right when you say there's no one way to do it. There's no one way to do the thing that you want to do. It's just
Mhm.
you got to be open to all of the things that surround the thing that you want to do, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
It's interesting that you say acting is the thing that got you into it because I'm maybe this is something I need to get over. I'm trying to get over like little fears of mine. Like I've been telling myself since like a month ago. I was like, I'm gonna try and be fearless. I'm gonna try to get over my fears. How do I do that? And I've been just sort of working through a lot of that stuff, those questions. And like yesterday, for instance, I was like, I want to go camping. Like I live in fucking California. Everywhere around me is just like a few hours and then it's gorgeous.
Mhm.
I can do it. I've done it before. I can do it. I can do it alone. So, I went out and I got like a few camping supplies today and I booked a place like for this Sunday to Monday, just to do it. Small steps, right?
That's
And it's
still
like,
big though.
yeah, it's big. It's big in that the ball is starting to roll, but it's
Mhm.
like small steps, like almost kind of tricking myself into it, right? But the
Mhm.
reason why acting freaks me out is because I have many actor friends. I mean, we all have many actor friends. The ones
Yes.
who are just like committed to acting, like being an actor,
Mhm.
a lot of them are very difficult for me to be around
Mhm.
because they're always strung out. Like they're always concerned about everybody else's opinion. They're always, fearing rejection. And that's the thing that they have to deal with on a daily basis, rejection,
Mhm.
because they do so many auditions and get so many rejections. And they of course have to like alleviate that through self-practice, self-care healing methods. So they're into
Mhm.
all kinds of hokey shit. Not to
Mhm.
say that I don't have my own share of hokey shit. I have plenty of it.
Mhm.
But it's like they're locked in this, what seems to me like a vicious cycle of putting themselves out there, getting wounded, and then trying to self heal or self medicate. And it's
Mhm.
just like that, constant, constant. And I fear that. I fear getting sucked into that loop.
I mean, it makes sense why. I know there's that stereotype of like actors are a nightmare, but it makes sense because like the few times whenever I start to do something actorly or even like start to audition or stuff like that, it's a miserable process because you have to make yourself so vulnerable
Mm.
and also win approval.
Mm-hmm.
And so it nothing is in your control, which is so shitty. Because
Mm-hmm.
the thing with stand up, like you can make yourself vulnerable, but you're also the writer and editor and director.
Exactly.
Like if you don't like something, you can change it. If
Mm-hmm.
you don't like how something's going, you can change it. But if you're an
Mm-hmm.
actor, you don't do the you have to do the lines written for you. You have to do
Mm-hmm.
it a certain way. And
Yep.
if people don't like it, then fuck you. It's just
Right. Right.
and that's just for people that's their whole life. I'm like, oh man, that sounds like a nightmare.
Awful. Yeah.
Yeah, if
Yeah.
you're already like a fragile person, like I'm sure, like, because I feel like I'm a pretty sensitive person, so I think I
Mm-hmm.
could never do just straight acting. Like, I'd always be like, I'm still gonna write and try to make my own shit, because I don't,
Right.
I don't want to feel like this disposable thing that people can either love or hate.
Yeah. 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 To have some sense of creative agency.
Mhm.
And it's like with acting, it's your body, right? It's your
Mhm.
body, it's like, yeah, it's your fucking body, it's your voice, it's your facial expressions, it's your emotions. It's a lot. And I don't know, like that's why I really admire actors, honestly, because I feel like they're doing something I don't think I have the wherewithal to really do. I know I want to. There's a part of me that really wants to. I know that I can be good at it. I know that I
Mhm.
am good at it. I have acted before and I know I have it. It's just it's the grind that really puts me off. The grind and like the mental state that it puts you in, as you mentioned.
Well, I think it's
Yeah.
so funny that you, of all people, would say that, considering you're a stand-up. Like, if
I
I
know,
feel like
right?
if anyone has the worst grind, it's stand-ups.
Yeah, comics have it the worst. You're right. But I feel like I can hack that only because it's on my terms. You know what I mean? Like everything is on my terms. If I feel like I'm going to do an open mic, I'm going to do 2 open mics every single night this week, I will do them. If I
Mhm.
suddenly say, fuck it, I don't want to do any of them, I don't
Mhm.
have to. And as you say, like, I like how you put it, the stand up is the writer, director, and editor, and all of that. It's like, yeah, that's absolutely what we are. It's like, and the deliverer. We're the
Mhm.
ones who deliver it. And
Mhm.
there's a lot of agency there. I think I like control.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I
Yeah, that's
think
why
that's what
like
it
a
is.
lot of stand-ups struggle when they're trying to do improv.
Yeah. But I love improv. I don't like improv team, but I like doing like set list mics.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like that's why I like crowd work too. There's some stand up shows where like the crowd is just not with you at all.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter how fucking great your writing is and how fucking good your jokes are. Those jokes that 100% land everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
There's some rooms where they just don't fly because the crowd is just
Yeah.
not on that level. So you have to adjust. And
Yeah.
that adjustment is literally scrapping your entire act and
Mm-hmm.
only talking to them
Mm.
and figuring out a way to crack them up. And that's like for me, I love that. I get a lot of joy out of that. I also get a lot of joy at like going to some of those mics where they just have like a bunch of words like in a bucket and then you just pull out a word and then you just riff. I love that. So I like that kind of improv where it's just
See,
me.
it's so crazy because like that's those things give me so much anxiety.
Really?
Well, because you're just you're flying blindly.
But you're flying blindly when you're doing improv with the team too.
Yeah, but you're with the team. You share the blame. You
Ah.
share the responsibility. Someone could take the spotlight
Ah.
off you for a second. Whereas if it's just you, it's like, oh,
Yeah.
it's just you taking all the blame. It's just you sitting there grinding your gears.
Yeah.
I did one of those open mic riff things, whatever, and it
Uh-huh.
went terribly. It went terribly
Really?
because the thing is, I have a thing where I don't like being a storyteller. Like
Ah.
because I remember there's an improv 101, the exercise that they have you do to generate ideas as monologues, and
Mm.
I can't do that shit.
Mm.
I can't tell a succinct, interesting monologue off the top of my head based on a suggestion. It has to
Hmm.
be premeditated or me bouncing off someone else's idea.
Hmm.
It's too, and then because I'll start either rambling or be like, oh wait, this story doesn't have a point, or oh, it's a lot of half ideas, and just I need time to work it out.
Mm. Interesting. Yeah. Yeah, with the set list stuff, it's like I know that what I'm saying, not everything that I say is gonna get a punchline.
Mm-hmm.
And if I start out and I feel like I'm not interested, then I just say
Mm-hmm.
pass. I just
Mm-hmm.
ask for a different word or I go for a different word.
Yeah.
Um, it's usually like I follow the interest. Is that a
Yeah.
thing in improv? Like I just follow whatever excites me most and gets me lit up.
Yeah.
Because when I'm lit up, then I know it's gonna be funny because I'm lit up already.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody's gonna have fun. But if it's like
Yeah.
a boring ass idea or it's like a word that I just don't know or I'm not interested in, I'm not
Mm-hmm.
inspired by, then I just say pass.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's interesting. Like this is a common thing. I noticed this with you, with Sam O, with Will Hines. I noticed this with a lot of people who do sketch and improv. Um, and it's always like a fear of the alone part, the solo part.
Because it's crushing, Grace. It's crushing. It's
Yeah.
it's like
But
whose fault is it? Well, who's on stage? Just me. All
yeah.
right.
Well, so what? What's wrong with that? I guess it's like I guess I'm over it. I'm like, what's wrong with that? Yeah, sometimes I eat shit and then it's like I'll just go home and eat a bucket of other shit to try and
It's
alleviate. Yeah.
it's just it gets to the core of your being, and
Oh, it's a horrible feeling, yeah. But it's like wonderful too in a way. That's why like stand-ups when we're, the back of the so-called back of the room, right? Like
mm-hmm.
we'll sit in the back of the room and if somebody's bombing, all of us are dying laughing. Or if somebody's not making any sense. Or if somebody is like they keep bombing and they're nervous, or if somebody starts heckling and they can't address the heckler, then all of us in the back of the room are hysterically laughing because we feel for them so intensely and closely. And yet it's like cathartically hilarious because we know that it happens to all of us. It could happen to any one of us. And I think in that regard there's love there, like I was trying to explain this idea to like a guy I was dating and he was just like, you're mean, how can you laugh at somebody bombing? I was like, you don't get it, bro, you just don't get it. There's love. That's love. That's not mean-spirited laughter. That's fully love when we're laughing. You know what
I
I
did.
mean?
No.
And it's so interesting. This is how a lot of stand-ups feel. I feel this way when I talk to other stand-ups. They know what I'm talking about.
Well,
You know?
okay. I to a certain degree, if I see someone bombing,
Yeah.
and if it's someone that I know or someone that I'm a fan of, like
Yeah.
I don't know if my instinct is to laugh.
Oh, really? I
If
find it
that's
so
my
funny.
I don't know if I find it funny, but like I don't know. I just
What's the feeling you get when you see somebody you know or admire bombing on stage?
it's just understanding, I guess, because I know that they're working something out.
Okay, got it.
That's my thought on it.
Yeah, yeah. It's like just pragmatic under like industry understanding. It's like, oh, I know where they're at with this joke.
Yeah, and then I think at one time I was interning at UCB and there was a stand-up show and this guy who's really funny was doing stand-up and then he did one joke where he lost the audience
Uh
and then afterwards it was hard to get him back. But the thing is like his the joke he did was a little blue, but I was like I remember thinking like that joke's funny, man. I hope you keep it.
Yes, yes. That's
Yeah.
another thing I love because comedy's so subjective, right? Like,
Yeah.
do you know Jackie Monahan?
Mhm.
I love Jackie, and she has an album, These Lips, I think, Read These Lips or From These Lips. And I was listening to it recently, and she filmed it and recorded it at the Underground in Seattle, which is now closed, sadly. But that's where she recorded it. And I'm listening to this album, and it's like amazing. Like her jokes are amazing, right? And you could hear the laughter either not being there or not meeting the register that I feel
Mm.
like that it deserves, for
Yeah.
each joke. And
Yeah.
I felt immense hatred for this audience, like when they didn't
Mhm.
get it or when they weren't laughing.
Mhm.
I was like, they're so fucking stupid. Like I want to just get in their brains and like make them understand. But it's like again, that's the thing you can't do, right? Like you can't
Mhm.
do that, you know. And that's the other thing. There's some jokes that are really hilarious to comedians because comedians are smart. Like I would say, in the general social intelligence, comedians are kind of a level up because we just see things more, we get things more. In order
Mhm.
to say a punchline and understand a punchline, you have to be smart, you know.
Mhm.
So it's like some comics understand those jokes better than somebody who
Yeah.
just doesn't think about jokes or doesn't think in that way at all, you know? So it's
Yeah.
like, okay, I get it, I get it. And it's just like, man, you just like, I sensed this sense of pity, I guess, or like there was like a sense of loss, you know? I was like, man, these are such fucking good jokes. I wish, there was a bigger crowd or maybe a crowd on a different night or, like, I just, that feeling I felt. Yeah.
It's weird finding out sometimes that uh, sometimes that you're smart because like sometimes I'll talk about something and it'll be something like in my opinion is very mundane. Be
Mm,
like, oh, I was rewatching Frasier, and people be like, oh, I can't watch that. It's too smart. And I'm like, it's not. It's
mm,
really not.
right.
And they'll be like, no, trust me, it is. And I'm like, what's it like being you? Jesus Christ. Like I don't think of myself as like as an Asian person,
Yeah.
I'm very aware of how stupid I am. So
Interesting.
I just whenever someone uh, makes it very clear that they're stupider than I am, it's just like, ugh.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, I don't know how to help you, buddy. Well, I think
Yeah.
my
Hmm.
reaction to stupid people sometimes is, you know that rule, you could be stupid or you could be mean, but you can't be both.
I don't know that rule at all.
Well, apparently a lot of people don't. Because I don't mind if people are stupid, but I do mind if they're like weirdly arrogant about it.
About their stupidity?
Yeah, like they don't realize how stupid they are,
Uh,
or
oh,
they
you
can't.
mean, oh shit, what the fuck was that? It was really loud. Oh, it's okay, it's
What?
fine. There was
What?
like some really loud noise. It just scared the shit out of me. Is it kind of like maybe, I don't like Donald Trump, for instance, like stupidity and aggression?
Yeah, or like um, sort of that kind of attitude of, um, I'm trying to think of an example. Uh,
Well, I was listening to this, I guess it's like a meditation session. Do you know this woman, Tara Brock?
mm-mm.
Okay, there's this woman named Tara Brock. She's like a psychotherapist and she's like a healer, and she talks a lot about radical self-compassion. And I was
Mm-hmm.
just kind of listening to this session. It's like four different recordings, and I was just kind of listening to it all at once. And one of the opening things she said was, our society is built very much to accommodate and praise the analytical thinking, the hard sciences, the math, the STEM fields, like that shit. And she was like, in a society that does that, imagine how many people there are that feel stupid because society doesn't uphold their values or their talents, right? Which
Mm-hmm.
is people like us, like you and me, the ones who are
Mm-hmm.
sensitive, more about affect and feeling, about
Mm-hmm.
intuition, about creativity, about writing, about art, about creation, about ideas, about expression, modes of expression, methods of expression, da 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 da, right?
Mm-hmm.
People like that. And she was like, imagine how stupid those people feel. Like you said, you were like, as
Mm-hmm.
an Asian person, I'm aware of how stupid I am.
Mm-hmm.
And when I heard her say that, heard her say, imagine how many people there are that feel stupid because of where the society emphasizes points of value. And I started hysterically crying for like, I don't know, like 10, 15 minutes. And I realized one of my core beliefs is that I'm stupid. I realized that I have this core belief in me. I didn't know I have it, but I have it. It's in there. It's embedded into me. It was put into me by somebody, a
Mm-hmm.
parent, a teacher, a friend, whomever.
The
And
whole country.
the whole country, the nation, the society, the community. And this feeling is, it permeates even more deeply because I am not of this country. I moved to this country as an immigrant as a child. I did not speak the language. I did not understand the culture. And then there are all these in between things that you have to navigate between two cultures, right? It's like trying to be Korean or Korean American in an American society versus American and trying to assimilate and da da da. So there are all these ambiguities and questions and whatever, right? So yeah, I felt like a constant clueless person throughout all of that. And whenever I would just do something and they would say, why are you doing that, you fucking idiot? Why would you say or do that? Why would you do it that way? Don't you have any common sense? And I realized, like, oh, I fear, my fear is if I don't know something, my life will end. I will be shamed to the point of wanting to die or disappear. So this became a core fear and belief in me, a fear of lacking knowledge,
Mm.
lacking knowledge on what to do,
Mm-hmm.
a belief that I'm a fucking idiot,
Mm-hmm.
a deep seated belief. And that's why when I see people, anybody who I, in my mind, determine as quote unquote stupid, I get
Mm-hmm.
immensely rageful
Mm.
because I put so much pressure on myself to not be stupid, to
Yeah.
always acquire knowledge and to be aware, to be self-aware, to be prepared, as you do, right? You're like, I need an hour, I need an hour to prepare. I have to ask questions. I have to prepare and I have to know the fucking story fully in my head before I go out into the world.
Mm-hmm.
It's like in my mind, I do that all the time. And so when I see somebody who hasn't prepared, I'm like, why didn't you fucking prepare? I did.
Well,
Why didn't you? Right? So it becomes this rageful response, which is irrational. It's not rational to put the same amount of expectations and pressures on another individual that I put on myself. But it's impossible to not do that because I do that to
well,
myself, you know?
I think it's very. I think this is saying a lot about me. I think it's very rational, because the thing is, I think this might be an Asian thing too.
Hmm.
We're raised to believe if someone is caught acting stupid, it's okay to be horrible to them, and it's.
That's funny.
I know, but the thing is, if you were to say that to me now, I'm like, well, yeah, they
Mm.
need to be punished.
Hmm.
Like, because in America, like stupidity, you correct it, but in Asian countries, if you fuck up or you make an embarrassment of yourself, you need to get punished. It's not enough to correct it. Like
Mm.
you are going to learn physically, mentally, and spiritually why that was unacceptable. and
Mhm. Mhm.
and so I don't know. It's tough for me because I feel like being a bully also runs in my genetics,
Mhm.
and I think very frequently a lot of us are looking for an excuse to be horrible to someone. And so when I see someone being stupid, I'm just like, oh, it's okay. We could totally take this person to,
Hmm.
yeah, just trash him to filth.
Yeah, I guess I'm on a different path with that. Because for me, it's like,
Oh, I don't agree with it. I don't
oh,
agree
okay,
with
okay.
it.
As long as you're aware of
No,
that, because I don't
no,
think it's a
no,
healthy response.
no.
Yeah,
Because well,
I don't
everyone's a
agree with it
little
either.
stupid. That's the thing.
I don't think it's stupid. I think it's like everybody, we're always on a path to learning something new, no matter what. Like I learned something new today, like I went and got windshield wipers replaced. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Like that's something I've never done. I've never replaced my windshield wipers ever in my life. I did it today. And I did it like literally because one of them was like falling apart, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I got it done and it was like, okay, now I know how to do this. I just bring it in and this is what happens. Now I know.
Mm-hmm.
But it was something I've never done before. I was just acquiring new knowledge. It's not that I'm stupid. There are probably some people who can replace their own wipers and they're like, yeah, it's fucking easy. You just buy it wherever and just stick it and it's done. You're stupid, Grace, for not knowing how to fucking do that. Thank God nobody's saying that. But it's like, I don't think it's about stupidity, really. It's almost like these words like stupid or smart, or they're starting to lose meaning in my world suddenly. The other day when I was telling you, I don't know if I told you this, but I was feeling kind of depressed for a little while. Like I was dealing with some depression for like a couple weeks. And since I've lived with depression a lot of my life. I know when it comes and I know when it's going to go. I know that it's not going to stick around forever. So you just kind of wait around for it to leave. But when somebody, like I told them, I was like, oh, I don't feel depressed today. They were like, oh my God, yay. They were like kind of celebrating it. And I remember getting irritated because I was like, there's nothing wrong with being depressed a little bit. It's just my
Mm-hmm.
body and my mind processing something. It needed
Mm-hmm.
to get through that. And now we're moving on. But that was a necessary process. So I almost felt annoyed at her qualifying depression as a negative thing,
Well,
which
I
I
think they're
don't
just
do.
interpreting it like, I think for them they were just celebrating that you were not in pain.
Yeah. Yes, I think so too. Yeah. But it was
So,
more like in my mind, it was like
mm-hmm.
depression's not a bad thing. Like this was like
Yeah,
a new sort of emerging. It was like
yeah.
depression's not a bad thing. Like why are you? So it's
Mm-hmm.
actually like a healthy. If anything, it's like a sign of healthiness for me in that in how I have come to terms with my depression. It's
Mm-hmm.
like oh, like I know when it comes, it's like there's some change. There's room being made or space being made to accommodate something else that's coming in. So
Mm-hmm.
it's just a matter of shifting perspectives, I guess. So anyway, that's what I've been doing, I suppose. So I'm starting to see depression differently. I'm starting to see the word stupidity differently. Starting to see the word intelligence and smart differently. It's
Mm-hmm.
like everybody has their own gift of intelligence.
Oh yeah, I'm a firm believer that everyone's smart in a way. Like
Exactly.
there's just different
Exactly.
types of intelligence. Like my
There's
sisters, there's book
yeah.
smart, there's street
Yeah.
smart, there's people that
Exactly.
are emotionally intelligent,
Yeah, it's a
and
huge one.
there's people that are good at organizing their lives. There's
Yes.
people that are good with
Good at being
animals.
on time. Yeah.
Yeah, that we call
People who
those
are
heroes.
people who are totally carefree, like free from the burden of time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um all different kinds, but like for me right now what I'm struggling with, and let me get your opinion on this. Um so I have this friend who we're good friends. I was in a state of pain last month and I reached out to a lot of people for help, as you know, with the film, and he ignored my email. And that got stuck in my craw. And there was no explanation. really.
Well, to, I think I totally get where you're coming from because as someone, every single time I try to put a show or a shoot together, it's always a goddamn nightmare. And
Yeah.
it's really hard not to take it personally when someone like either says no or just doesn't respond to something.
Mm.
Like it feels like they're saying fuck you,
Mhm.
but in reality, it's just so many things can happen. Like you have no idea what's going on with their life.
Mhm.
And maybe I know some people are like, I don't want to burden other people with my bullshit, so I'm going to keep it to myself.
Yeah.
So,
I think not getting a response from somebody is like, I don't know, for me that's a huge violation. For me that's like,
well, it's a faux pas.
is it? Yeah, it
Yeah,
is.
yeah. I know how you feel because I have the same thing where I'm like, I'd rather you say no than not respond.
Yeah, I agree. I'm more on board with that because it's communication.
Yeah,
Yeah. Whereas ignoring is like not communication. It's just, I don't know, it's like a form of mental torture. It's like, what
it's
am I
just
supposed to,
yeah,
how am I supposed to read this? Yeah.
yeah. Like you either like it leaves you wondering, and it and sometimes it could just feel dismissive,
Yeah.
and sometimes it could just feel like a form of ghosting.
Yeah.
And I'm not a fan of ghosting. So
Yeah, I'm not
unless
either.
someone's really being shitty, I don't. Yeah, and even then,
Yeah.
I'd much rather tell them off.
I mean, there's like, there are ways to handle things like when it's time to end, right? But it's like, I
Mm-hmm.
think for me, that's a big deal breaker is like not being responsive
Mm-hmm.
is a big deal breaker. Like there are people I just don't talk to anymore because of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because to me, it's like similar to the time thing, except it's more offensive because eventually with the time thing, like they're just late. They're going to show up and
Yeah.
you're just annoyed that they were late and they put you through this sort of mental possibility that they might not show up. I think that's the
Yeah.
anguish. That's the pain that I have to deal with. And then I'm angry now that they've arrived and they put me through that torture. But with
Mm-hmm.
like the not responding, it's
Mm-hmm.
like a definite violation because there was just no showing up. There's just like a ball being dropped. There was a ignoring happening. There was a sense, for me, it feels like abandonment. For me, it feels like neglect. For me, it feels like devaluement. Like I'm devaluing you. You're not even worth a response from me.
Mm-hmm.
You're not even worth an explanation from me. Get
Mm-hmm.
over it. Like that's to me the communication,
Mm-hmm.
and it feels like a huge disrespect. And so I think that's why I'm having a hard time shaking this. Yeah, it's like last year I had to let go of somebody because of something similar, but it was a lot more amped up because it was like COVID was full on, and like
Yeah.
I thought he was dead. I literally thought he got COVID and died. So it put me in this panic attack mode.
Oh, that's
This time
terrible.
it was really horrible. And when I tried to explain it to him, he wasn't receptive to it. He didn't want to hear it. So I was like, okay, well then I'm done with you. It's bye. It's over.
Because like I know some people that are like that, and when I'm like, dude, why didn't you say anything? And they're like, oh, I should have said something. It would be
Oh,
like that, and I'm
interesting.
like, dude, yes.
Mm.
If someone sends you anything that seems remotely emotionally loaded, be like, well, I'm sure it'll work itself out. And I'm like,
Oh, because they
eh,
can't deal with confrontation.
they can't. They don't like confrontation. Um,
Well, nobody likes confrontation. I think it's just they don't have the tools to deal with it.
they don't have the tools, and nor do they want them. That's the big thing. They don't. They really don't want them, and so they'd rather just, you know.
Yeah,
So I mean, it's disappointing and frustrating, but that's just some people's state of being, I guess.
that is.
And something you really need to take into consideration is like, I mean, I don't know how many mutual friends you have with this person, but they're probably like this with everyone, right?
I don't know. I have no idea.
I mean, I think it's probably safe to say that they're like this with a lot of people in their lives, and I don't think you should be like, oh, this means this person feels that way about me. Like, example.
Yeah.
Normally, when someone's awkward towards me, or
Yeah.
if I have an awkward interaction with them, I'm like, I suck. I'm garbage. I'm stupid. Why did I do that? But
Hmm.
certain people, like Will Hines, Like,
Mhm.
if I have an awkward interaction with him,
Mhm.
I always am like, "Oh, Will, you freak."
Yeah.
It's because
You accept. Yeah.
I know it's not me. I know it's all him,
Mm.
and I say that lovingly.
Right, right. You accept him.
I think he's great, but I also know he's a little weirdo, and so if I have an interaction with him and he seems like short or off, it's not
Mm.
like, oh, I hate you and why am I talking to it? It's a matter of like, well, time to be crazy somewhere else.
Right, right. Mhm.
Yeah, yeah. So like, yeah, like if a dog that's randomly on the street comes near you, you're not gonna be like, oh my god, this dog. No, it's gonna be like, oh, there's a dog loose.
Mhm.
It's like
Yeah.
that.
Okay. That's
Yeah,
helpful.
yeah,
Thank you.
yeah.
Thanks for hearing me out. Mhm.
It's crazy because I started doing stand up about 10 years ago, then stopped, and then I
Mhm.
see a lot of those people from back then that are like working now and just killing it, and um, people I hear people talk about them and they'd be like, oh my god, they're so great, and I'm like, I knew them when they were at the lowest point in their lives.
Mm.
They were not nice.
Right.
Yeah. So part of me was like, I had a light bulb moment where I'm like, were people shitty or was I just around them during a really shitty point in their lives?
Mm.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Mhm.
Yeah, but that's important too, you know? It's like if you were around them when they were at a shitty point in their lives, like it's hard to see them differently,
Yeah.
actually.
Yeah.
Isn't this is another friend I'm dealing with right now. Like the last time I spoke to him was almost it was 2 years ago,
Mhm.
and he was at a very low point,
Mm.
but not doing much about it. But like the thing about him being at a low point was he was also dragging other people down with him, like
Yeah.
emotionally, mentally, financially. It was like draining a lot of people around him.
Mhm.
And I was included in that pile of people, and I was really scarred by it. And it sort of made me see, like, oh, like he's actually very selfish. Like he
Mhm.
doesn't give a shit about anybody else. It's just him right now.
Yeah.
And so I distanced myself from him radically
Mhm.
because I just didn't want to get caught up in his cycle of, bullshit. I was just
Yeah.
like, I don't want to get wrapped up in that nonsense anymore. And
Mhm.
he's an addict. He has like a lot of issues.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I distanced myself radically, and he's still like, you know, there's activity on my social media, like still trying to engage me somehow, you know?
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
like, I'm not taking the bait at all. Like, because it's hard for me to unsee what I saw,
Yeah.
unfortunately, sadly,
Yeah.
sadly.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, what when I was saying about earlier, I'm not saying like the shitty behavior people do, like you have to excuse. Like you can absolutely cut these people out of your life,
Mm,
and you usually should because I mean, it's gonna take a toll on you. But it's just I'm just saying like it's not it's not really about you.
right.
You just happen to be in the trail of a tornado.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
even like cut them off, like it's not really about cutting them off. It's more just like I
It's
have to
really hard to cut people off.
it's almost an impossibility to cut people off. It's like it's more just like me making peace with letting them go, like emotionally and mentally. It's like I'm letting you go
Yeah.
emotionally. Like you're no
Or keep them
longer
at arm's length.
right, right. Like if I randomly bump into them out there in the world and they say they acknowledge me and I acknowledge them, that'll be it. It will
Mhm.
just be like, two ships kind of passing each other. I'm not going to hang out, I'm not going to engage. Most
Mhm.
likely not, because and again, like this is like a matter of balance, it's like figuring out where is the line between I'm doing like I'm grown and I'm expanding my boundaries and I'm accepting more people. I'm raising my tolerance threshold and da da da. How much of it is it that, or how much of it is it like, no, this is like there is a fine line. I mean, there is a line here, and you have to protect yourself and
Yeah.
make certain choices and decisions in order to protect yourself, right? It's always like this negotiation.
Yeah.
But yeah, all this is helpful. Thank you. Yeah.
Mhm.
Um, I want to get into some fun shit.
Okay.
Um, So the show that I'm talking about on this episode is called "It's Okay, That's Love," which
Mm-hmm.
is it's like it's actually one of my top three Korean dramas of all time. Like I watched this one
Ooh.
maybe like 8 times already. I love this show. And so I'll just ask you some like scenario questions and you just answer them as you would do if you were in their shoes or if you were that person. Right?
Okay.
So let's say you're a hot, tall, sexy, dreamy, handsome, rich novelist guy and radio DJ. Your name
Oh
is
God.
Your name is Chang Chae-yeol, all right? You're hot shit. Everybody wants you. You meet a psychiatrist named Ji Hye-soo, and she's really fine. She's gorgeous, and you like her, but she doesn't like you because she thinks you're a pig. She thinks you're a chauvinist pig. She hates you.
Well,
She
am
also has a
I?
she also has a boyfriend. All right.
Mm-hmm.
One day you see Hisu's boyfriend making out with another woman.
Mm-hmm.
What do you do?
I don't know, because the thing is, like, if she already doesn't like me, she's
Yeah.
definitely gonna shoot the messenger. So
Yeah.
I guess I'd have to concoct some sort of way to
Yeah.
have her find out.
Hmm. Hmm.
But I also, I mean, if I'm a chauvinist pig, is it shitty to prey on someone or pursue someone that just got out of something shitty?
Right. Right. That's a very good point.
Yeah.
Is this
Like,
appropriate?
mm-hmm.
Hmm. A question men don't ask a lot of the times. Is this appropriate?
Well, I mean, it, because for them, when is something appropriate? Like, I think it's different when you can literally pee anywhere. You don't think about, is this appropriate? Whereas with women, like, we need special circumstances.
I know so much goes into just like urinating with the vagina.
Hmm.
Why? It's like it's a whole thing. You need shelter, you need toilet paper, you need
Yeah.
water, you need running water, you need a
Hmm.
trash bin, in case you got tampons and pads or panty liners or
Hmm.
whatever. It's a whole thing, but like, yeah, cocks, they could just whip them out, piss wherever. You're right.
Yeah, you could do it while on a moving bus. It's crazy. It's just like, so I think for them, everything's so much more like, I didn't even have to sit down. Whereas with women,
Yeah,
they're like, oh, it just, what does it say about me? Like,
right.
I was so
Gotta stop
invested in
everything.
this.
Right, right,
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Right. Right. Just to pee, women gotta stop everything. And they gotta go
Stop
into
everything.
a different
Deconstruct your clothing to do it.
yeah, put a purse or a bag somewhere. A whole thing. A whole thing. They have to
Hmm.
walk many footsteps to a secluded location where
Hmm.
they can undress and get their business taken care of. Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Wow, that's such a good point. That's genius. Yeah. There
Thank
should
you.
be a whole anthropological study based on just genitals, pissing habits, and the inequities of society. Like I see that as an anthropological dissertation already.
Well, it's just like, because think about it. If you had to bleed once a month uncontrollably, it's going to affect your state of mind after a while.
Oh my god. Everything about a female body is like that. It's like, we get used to discomfort from such a young age. Remember like training bras? When breasts first
Hmm.
start coming, you wear training bras. How uncomfortable was a bra when you first started wearing it? It's like, what is this shit on my body? It's like, puppies, when you see puppies, like, and you put a collar on them for the first time, they freak out because they're like, what the
Hmm.
hell is this bullshit around my neck? And it's
Hmm.
something they eventually have to get used to. And then, they become collar trained and leash
Hmm.
trained.
Yeah.
Women's bodies are the same way. As girls, we had to wear fucking training bras and then put on bras. And it's like, it always causes back pain. It always causes shoulder pain. It always causes like little marks on my fucking skin, but it's something society says you have to wear, so we have to fucking wear them so we get used to it, right?
Hmm.
It's like our
Yeah.
whole lives. Yeah.
Yeah. I think men should be required to wear jock straps if we have to get laid.
Yeah, strap them down.
Yeah, at all times.
All times. Yeah. It doesn't matter
So
how
wear it to
hot and
bed.
uncomfortable. All right, awesome. I love these. Okay. So let's say you're Hesu. You're this
Hmm.
hotshot doctor, big university hospital in Seoul, okay? You have a
Okay.
disorder. You have a mental disorder called sex phobia, where you attribute any physical intimacy with fear, shame, guilt, and anxiety because of a past trauma. And because of this, it's hard for you to be close to any partners in a relationship because physical intimacy is too triggering for you. So you always have to go extremely slow, even to hold hands, even a kiss. It's like it's a whole thing. So the boyfriend who cheated on you tells you that he cheated on you because he couldn't stand waiting around for somebody as frigid as you. What do you do?
Um, I'm a doctor.
Yeah, psychiatrist.
I would tell him, have fun with the clap. Uh, and I mean, having issues with sex uh, is a legitimate thing. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why you would be all like, I just don't know why you're being so frigid.
Mm, right.
Like, I have PTSD,
Yeah.
you know? Watch a movie, okay? Like, it's
Right.
hard. So I would be like, well, bye then,
Mm, yeah.
and find someone who also enjoys taking it slow. And, well, obviously, well, for me, I'm very sexually driven, so I'd be like, well, this is getting fixed now. Like
Yeah.
I'm on Prozac, and I keep considering going off of it because it makes it harder for you to come when you're on it.
Yeah. I heard that about antidepressants. Yeah.
Yeah, and so I'm just like, I mean, yeah, I'm balanced, but am I living life to the fullest? I don't know. So, as someone who's very sexually driven, like dating and not having any sort of physical intimacy is like nightmarish to me.
Mm,
My love language is like all of them. I need all of them.
mm-hmm.
Like if I'm not
Yeah.
getting affirmations, if I'm not getting touch, if I'm not getting time, I'm
Mm-hmm.
just like something, you know.
Right.
So yeah, if this guy is like, I can't wait around for you, and I'm like, first of all, dick. So just no,
Yeah.
and set yeah, just find someone else, and then like, and for me, I'm like, even masturbating, I'm like, there's a whole world there you're missing out on.
Yeah.
It's the best sex you'll ever have.
It's really having sex with the person who knows your body the best. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And
That's
will
what
happily
masturbation
leave
is.
you alone afterwards. It's just
That's hilarious. Yeah. Yeah. There's no pressure for anything
well,
afterwards.
because
Yeah.
I physically I think it's because of the way my shoulders are built, but I don't like cuddling because I'm hot. Get off me, and it's just yeah.
Yeah. That's hilarious. Like, I don't like cuddling you because of my shoulders. It's like that's a hard one to get them to understand, but it's like, but that's the truth.
Well,
It's
because
the genuine truth. It's my fucking shoulders.
I can't sleep on my side because my shoulders are too wide, and
Mm,
that's probably why I'm not going to enjoy spooning or some nonsense. And if we
right,
are
right.
going to spoon, I'm going to have to be the outside spoon because
Yeah.
I already get way too hot when I'm sleeping, so I'm just going to be like, get your fucking hands off me.
Yeah. Yeah. There we should have like a each person should come with a booklet. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like a
Hmm.
manual, like a
Oh,
sex manual.
oh,
Yeah.
absolutely. Like
Yeah.
they're like a power bottom, hate spooning.
Right. Hate cuddling, but loves, you know, I don't know, shoulder rubs. Like whatever it is, it's just yeah.
Hmm.
You know
Hmm.
how like when you're about to like pet like give your pets to somebody for pet sitting, there's like all these instructions. Yeah.
Hmm.
Each
Hmm.
person should have their own kind of manual, sex manual.
Oh,
Okay.
absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, let's say you're a Chea, all right, the hotshot novelist guy. Okay,
Hmm.
you meet a high school boy named Kwangwoo, and he lives with his mom and an abusive father, alcoholic father, and the mom gets her ass beaten all the time by your dad,
Mhm.
right? I mean, by his dad. And he tells you that you're his like favorite writer of all time. Like he wants to be like you in the future, right? And you're like, okay, okay, got it, kid. And you drive this boy home to his house, and right outside his house, you see his mother getting beaten by this alcoholic husband. And Kwangwoo runs over to tend to his mother, and then Kwang was also getting his ass beaten. What do you do?
Mhm. Um, I would bum rush the dad.
Mm.
Um, probably start wailing on the dad. I would offer them to stay with me,
Hmm.
but that's me. I under
Yeah. Yeah.
I know DV is a big old issue in any household,
Hmm.
and so I already know that the mom might not want to leave,
Right. Yeah. Okay.
but I would definitely be like, if you want, you could just I have a spare bedroom.
Mm. Offer shelter. Okay, that's
Mhm.
kind of you. That's generous of you. All right.
Mhm. Well, cuz
Okay.
like I know enough about it to be like this person probably abusers they isolate their victims, so
Yeah.
they have no resources to go to.
Mm-hmm.
Like they won't let them talk to their families, they won't let them have friends, they
Mm-hmm.
control all the finances.
Mm-hmm.
So if they go out they have nothing, so I'd be like, okay, well then you're going to stay with me then.
Right. Offer help.
Mhm.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like I know some people would be like, oh, I'm not going to get involved, but my thing is like, I think the idea of a father figure beating up his own family is so triggering for me
Yeah.
that it would be hard for me not to feel a lot of empathy.
Right.
um
It'll be hard for you to ignore it.
yeah, it'd be hard for me to just drive away.
Right. I understand.
Mhm.
Okay. So let's say you're Hisu, the psychiatrist woman.
Mhm.
You and Cheyo,
Mhm.
the novelist guy, you guys go on a trip. And it just happens so that you have to stay the night. Okay?
Mhm.
You don't sleep together. You sleep in separate rooms, but you have to spend the night. When you wake up in the morning and you're looking for him, you don't see him anywhere. And you go to the bathroom. And when you open it, you see him on the bathroom floor and he's sleeping. He's
Mhm.
sweating a little bit. He's frowning and he's sleeping on the bathroom floor. And later, he tells you that he can't sleep anywhere except for a bathroom. Like, that's where he sleeps. Even at home, he sleeps in his bathroom. And it's because of a past trauma. What do you do?
I'm a psychiatrist, he said.
Hmm. Yeah.
um well, obviously this person needs to go to therapy,
Yeah.
and then I'd yeah, just you can't be sleeping in the bathroom floor.
Mm.
Like, I mean, to each their own, but I'm like, I need the bathroom sometimes.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna be like, can you wait outside for however long that I need? No, absolutely not.
Right. 8 hours locked in the bathroom to sleep. And you're like, what if you have to take a midnight shit or gotta
Yeah,
barf? Yeah.
as someone who, for me, the bathroom is like a sacred safe space, and if someone fucks with that, I'm just like, no, you gotta go. You gotta go now, 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 now.
Okay. So it might be a deal breaker for you. Yeah. Okay. Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's say you're the same woman.
Mhm.
You're dating this guy now, Cheo. All right.
Mhm.
And your boyfriend talks all the time about this kid, Kwangwoo, the kid that was getting beat up, his mom getting beat up and all that. He talks about him all the time, but you've never met him. You've never met this kid in person. And one day, your psychiatrist colleagues tells you that Cheo is schizophrenic and that Kwangwoo is a person that Cheo made up in his mind in order to cope with his childhood traumas. What do you do?
Oh boy. Oh I just like, because the thing is, like, what are you supposed to do? Like, confront them? What are they gonna say? Yeah, you're right. I'm a crazy dude. One time in high school, I used to sit at lunch with this group of girls, and this one chick. She would never stop talking about her boyfriend.
Mm,
And then one day in science class, science was
mm-hmm,
right after lunch.
mm-hmm.
I was like, oh, so and so is so annoying. She never stops talking about her boyfriend. And this girl who was a mutual friend was like, she doesn't have a boyfriend.
Hmm.
And I mentioned this one guy, and she's like, she barely knows him.
Wow.
Yeah. And then the next day at lunch, she was not there, and I was just like, girl did not want to answer any questions.
Wow. Yeah. Isn't it interesting that all of us create our own realities that we choose to live in?
Yeah. Yeah. But some people just get a little too creative with theirs. But yeah, if I found out someone that I was dating was consistently talking about someone that was not real,
Right.
I mean, because that's psychosis.
It is. It's schizophrenia. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm just like, okay, well, you have to 5150 this guy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
There's no two ways about it.
Right.
Like, what are you gonna do? Like, burst in and be like, you lied to me? It's absolutely insanity.
Right. 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 Yeah. There's no way about it. Like, yeah.
No, no, crazy's crazy.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So you're still this woman, Hisu. Okay. You have a father. You have a mom, a dad. You have an older sister. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Your family's very poor. Your father suffered a stroke many years ago when you were like a teenager, and his brain activity is like that of a 3-year-old. He can't walk, he can't speak. He's a severe financial burden on your entire family, but what do you gotta do? You gotta do what you gotta do, right?
Mm-hmm.
Your mom, who used to love your boyfriend because he's rich and he's successful and he's handsome and whatever, she finds out that your boyfriend has this mental disability and she slaps your face, telling you to break up with him immediately. What do you do?
Why did she slap me?
Because it's like the mother's rationale was you should know better. You know what it's like to live with a man who's sick. How can you go and do the same thing with your life? Like that's her rationale.
I mean, well, first I'd be like, why did you slap me?
Mm.
And I just, I don't know. Well, first of all, he's rich.
Yeah, it's
Rich,
true.
rich people aren't crazy; they're eccentric. You get that live-in nurse and get that shit covered.
Right.
Sorry, the dating pool for rich, handsome men ran out of sane ones.
Yeah, we're at the bottom of the barrel. Yeah,
So,
there's
so
only a couple left.
I'd be like, you do know he's rich, right?
Yeah,
You want to
it's
take
like
that slap back now?
exactly like it's like there was just two. It's like a schizophrenic one and then like a serial killer. I chose the schizophrenic one. Like I feel like I made the better decision here.
Well, for serial killer, there's not even a matter of choice in that. I'd be like, that's gonna sort itself out real quick.
Right.
Yeah, mom, shut up.
That's
You
hilarious.
you don't
Mom,
want to
shut
stay in
up.
the mansion? You don't have to.
Yeah, just live apart from the mansion. Never come over. It's
You
all you
can
gotta
live in the
do.
guest house. Like my
It
man
has
may
a
be,
pool.
yeah, my man may be schizo, but his money's definitely real.
His money's so real. His money's
Yeah,
nothing like Kwango. It is real. I feel it. I see
yeah.
it. I
I've
live
I've
it.
met the money. The money's very real.
I touched it. I
Yeah,
smelled it. Yeah,
yeah,
I bought a lot of bags with it. Yeah.
yeah. You know what solves mental illness, mom? Money. Money, 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 money. Okay? So, what are you.
It's hilarious. Okay. I love that.
Insanity.
I love that you also I love that you also said, "Why did you hit me?" Like because like slapping is such a thing, like a soap opera thing. It's such
Yeah,
a
yeah,
K drama gimmick,
yeah.
and in almost every single one of these flashcard questions, a hitting moment always comes up, and nobody has ever questioned the slap. They just kind of skip over that part and just think of the next step. But I love that you took the time to question that and be like, "Why did you slap me?" It's
Because
so important.
it's such a weird hysterical response, and I'm not gonna
Right.
let that shit go.
Right.
I'm
Your
gonna,
daughter
yeah,
your daughter just got hit with some bad news, some sad news, and you're gonna go and hit her?
yeah. Like I hate also Korean soap operas. They have this thing where I don't know if it's just an old school thing where even if a bad thing happens to a woman, like
Yeah.
she gets punished.
Yeah.
Like you got hit
Yes.
by a boulder. How dare you? How dare? And that's this weird thing where I'm just like I can't handle the lack of logic here. It's just killing me.
I know the lack of logic is huge for me. Like with my K drama book right now that I'm working on, I'm writing this one chapter called Orphans and Leukemia because there's so many orphans and leukemia in K dramas. And I'm just kind of writing out like the things that happens to a female protagonist, and it's just it doesn't make any sense. It's like she's so upright and moral. Why does the narrative continuously punish her? Like every step of the way, every episode, punish, 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 and then they kill her off. It's like,
Yeah.
what was the point of that when she was so upright and moral? Are you just saying, don't be this upright and moral because your fate is determined as you fucking getting cancer and dying anyway? It's
I
almost illogical. Yeah.
it's I guess our version of true crime. Like so the thing is like the more upstanding they are, the more like when something bad happens, be like, oh, so tragic, so tragic.
Right. The sadder it is because you're just like, no, yeah, yeah, you're
Yeah.
right. It's a device. It
Well,
is.
also like I remember, did you ever hear this saying? I think my sister told it to me. Like a woman's duty is to suffer.
What? Jesus.
Yeah, I know. I think I read in a book somewhere too, and I'm just like, no,
I reject that statement completely.
no. Whoever said that, no, no,
Yeah,
that's
no.
dumb.
There's no
You,
such thing as duty to suffer. That's like, no, that's not your job. It's
yeah.
nobody's job to suffer.
But apparently they think it is. Like our duty is to put up with shit and just being like, you know what, someone's gotta take this rage.
Well,
And
the
I'm just
people
yeah,
who think that, they complain the most.
of course.
Like mother, like unhappy mothers-in-law,
Mhm.
they're very unhappy because they lived their whole lives being, taking shit. And
Mhm.
then at a certain point when it's time for them to be the matriarch, they
Yeah.
decide to be the shittiest matriarch because it's like, well, they had to deal with a lot of shit. It's time for the new one to also go through what I went through, right? It's like
Mhm.
it's similar to the whole me saying like, oh, like I feel stupid, and then me
Mhm.
coming down hard on person I judge as stupid.
Mhm.
It's like whatever battles you're dealing with internally or abuses you're putting onto yourself, you're always projecting them outwards as well. That's why the self-healing thing is so important. It's like
Mhm.
it's not just you, it's everybody around you.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. And just like everyone has like I don't know, like an axe to grind, and it's just I
Right. Yes. Yes. A woman's duty is not to suffer. Let's put that out there now. That is not anybody's job.
no. Also, why is just one person suffering?
Yeah. You could share it.
And you know what? Sometimes life is just a bitch. And yeah, no,
Exactly.
I'm not taking your shit.
No, there's no need for it.
Mhm.
I love that.
Mhm.
All right, last one. This one's not too complicated. Okay, so you're Cheo, the
Mhm.
the novelist guy, okay? To you, this Kwangu kid, he's always there. He's in the room with you at all times. He's always in front of you. He's always talking to you. You can touch him. He's so real to you, right? But you're at the hospital and everybody around you tells you that he's not real. You just don't understand why you're at the hospital. You don't understand why people are saying he's not real when to you he is crystal clear real, tangibly real. What do you do?
So people are trying to convince me that there's a person that I think is real isn't real.
Yes.
So okay, but he's not real. Is he real or is he not real?
He's not real. I mean, Cheo is schizophrenic, and
Okay.
this kid is a figment of his imagination.
Okay.
But
Well.
Cheo doesn't know that. To him, like Kwang was as real as this phone in my hand. It's so real
Mhm.
to him. Yeah.
Well, I guess I would have to do what they did in A Beautiful Mind and being like, "How long have you known this kid?" And being like, "They don't age, do they? Have you ever seen them age? They don't age."
How old are you? 5. Oh my god, it's been 10 years and you've been 5?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god. You want to know what's hilarious?
Hmm.
So that's the Beautiful Mind escape, right?
Hmm.
For John Nash. In this show, it's the same exact resolution. So like Jesus is standing with Cheo and Cheo's like, no, like Kwangwoo's real. I'm telling you he's real. And then Jesus says, with every imagined being, there's always something, some detail about them that is
Hmm.
inconsistent with the other reality that we live in.
Hmm.
And then what he notices is that Cheo is always barefoot, no matter what. He's always barefoot, and he's been a sophomore in high school for the last like 5 years. And that's when he's like, "Oh shit, you're right. He's not real." That's
Hmm.
how he snaps out of it. It's like the same formula as A Beautiful Mind. I was like,
Hmm.
that's the downside. I'm like, this is a copycat moment, or maybe that really is how a lot of
Or
schizophrenic
maybe
patients snap out of it.
that's how they do it because I
Exactly.
mean it'd be
Yeah.
crazy if hallucinations did age with time. But yeah, no, I think yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that's actually wild. Imagine that, right? Like your hallucination actually does correlate to real time and does age,
Hmm.
and then it's like there's no convincing in that
Mm-mm.
case.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
Like, what's the outcome? Where is the exit in that? How do we come out of that? You know?
Yeah, and then it's got to be awkward afterwards when you're talking to your hallucination. Like, so I heard you're not real.
They're these guys. They're telling me that you're fake, that I made you
Hmm.
up.
Yeah.
Wow.
Hmm.
That's wild. Okay,
Yeah.
I love this. This was hilarious. Thank you. It's always a joy talking to you.
Oh, thank you. I love talking to you too.